Since 1.21.4 just dropped, here is every important and interesting features. The Pale Garden is a new variant of the Dark Forest, and you guessed it, it spawns in or at a dark forest. When entering the Pale Garden, any music and ambient sounds will fade and stop playing. You will also realize that the sky becomes gray, just like in the video. Animals don't spawn in the Pale Garden, and there are new ambient sounds which aren't produced by the biome but by the blocks instead. Cool. The Pale Garden also doesn't have any music. If you use the seed shown on the screen, then you will spawn in a Pale Garden with interesting and weird features. I won't spoil it though. To grow a pale oak tree, place 4 pale oak saplings like this. You will realize that pale oak trees have cool decorations like hanging moss, and they have a chance to spawn gray leaf particles only if the bottom part of the pale oak leaves isn't blocked. Player-grown pale oak trees don't have any decorations or a creaking heart. Since we are in the topic of wood, using the pale oak log will craft the pale wood set shown on the screen. Here are also the new blocks, which are new variants of the resin. I'll get to it later in the video. Wandering traders can sell every type of moss and the new sapling and open eye blossoms. When placed, pale moss carpet grows up to 2 blocks on the solid faces of any block that borders it. Pale moss carpet can be bone mealed to grow to full size on all solid faces of any block that borders it, just like shown on the screen. Eye blossoms are new flowers that generate in the Pale Garden biome. They exist in 2 variants, closed eye blossom and open eye blossom. Eye blossoms transition between the 2 variants based on the time of day. During the night, eye blossoms will become open. During the day, they will become closed. In dimensions that do not have a day/night cycle, they will remain as is. When transitioning, flowers will emit a particle effect and sound. Eye blossoms planted on the ground will communicate with each other, helping nearby flowers to open or close. Open eye blossoms have glowing eyes during the night. Eye blossoms can be obtained by bone mealing grass blocks in the Pale Garden biome. Bees get poisoned when they touch open eye blossoms, so that means they are safe during the day and at risk during the night. Bees are tempted to approach eye blossoms, so they are less likely to die. Suspicious stew made from open eye blossoms will cause a blindness effect. Suspicious stew made from closed eye blossoms will cause a nausea effect. Gray or orange dye can be crafted from closed and open eye blossoms respectively. Now onto the creaking mob. The creaking mob spawns at night if there is a creaking heart block between 2 pale oak logs. This happens naturally in the Pale Garden biome, where the creaking heart generates inside pale oaks. You can also use Silk Touch to obtain the creaking heart to get the creaking yourself. An activated creaking will not move if a survival or adventure player is looking at it. It will also have full knockback resistance in this state. Creaking melee attacks deal 3 points of damage, which is 1.5 hearts. Pretty weak though. Creakings are resistant to fire, and creakings ignore cacti, sweet berry bushes and powder snow, and can walk through them or over them. When attacked by players or their pets, a particle trail is shown between the creaking and the creaking heart block it is connected to. This is also the way to get resin clumps. Again, I'll get back to it later. When the creaking heart block that the creaking is connected to is destroyed, the creaking is removed with a custom twitching animation. Pretty cool. Just like hitting the like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video so far. Creaking spawns are based on the day/night cycle and not affected by light levels. The creaking spawn egg will spawn a creaking mob that is not connected to a creaking heart, which isn't affected by the day/night cycle and has only half a heart, so be gentle, okay? Creaking spawn from a heart can't have name tags, go through portals or enter boats. Players wearing a carved pumpkin on their head can look at a creaking without it freezing in place. So lesson learned is to not look at tall sexy men. Illagers are scared of creakings and will run away from them. Now onto the creaking heart. It is active during the night and dormant during the day, which I don't know what it means. Sounded cool though. It sends a trail of particles towards the connected creaking when the creaking gets hit by a player or their pet, helping you locate it. When a creaking heart block is destroyed, the connected creaking is removed. The creaking heart decides to remove or replace the connected creaking when it either turns day or the creaking is 32 blocks away. Fortunately, instead of having to have Silk Touch, a creaking heart can be crafted with a resin block and pale oak logs. If you use a Silk Touch tool to break a creaking heart, it will drop as an item. Breaking a creaking heart without Silk Touch will drop 1 to 3 resin clumps or more when using a Fortune enchanted tool. And finally, naturally placed creaking hearts drop 20 to 24 experience when broken by a player, with or without Silk Touch. Cool. Finally, the myth, the legend, resin. There is a resin clump block similar to the cherry blossoms. It can be waterlogged and can be smelt using a furnace to get resin bricks, which are used to create the new cool resin bricks. Or you can use it to apply it on armor trims. Cool. You can also use a stonecutter on the resin bricks. Extra cool. Attacking a creaking will cause its creaking heart to create 2 to 3 resin clumps. Resin clumps appear on the sides of pale oak logs that are close and are connected to the creaking heart. Keep in mind that the creaking heart is on cooldown and cannot produce more resin clumps for 5 seconds after an attack, just like our third leg. Block of resin is a storage block for resin clumps. Cool. You can also find resin clumps in woodland mansions for some reason, probably for studying the creaking. If you enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe. It took me hours to create this 5-minute video.